Level 1. First encounter expanded. You open your first law book. The pages feel heavier than normal books. The words don't flow. They stand like barriers. You try reading a sentence, then stop halfway. Nothing makes sense. Terms like liability, jurisdiction, statute, they feel like a different language. You realize quickly, law is not something you can rush. It resists you at first, but something about it makes you continue, because behind the confusion, you sense structure. Level 2. Student grind. Now you start studying seriously. Days blur into nights. Highlighters, notes, lectures, rewinding the same video again and again. You start thinking you understand something, then realize you don't. And that cycle repeats. But slowly you start building discipline. Not because it's easy, but because law forces you to respect time and repetition. You begin to accept something important. Understanding law is not about speed, it's about consistency. Level 3. Language awakens. Something changes. The words stop looking random. You start recognizing patterns. Legal language begins to make sense in fragments. Duty means responsibility. Breach means breaking that responsibility. Damages means consequence. You stop translating law into confusion and start translating it into meaning. For the first time, you feel progress. Level 4. First case. Analysis. You read your first real case. It's long, complex, but structured. Facts, issue, rule, judgment. At first it feels overwhelming, then something clicks. You realize every case is just a story disguised as logic. And judges are not just reading. They are interpreting reality through rules. This changes how you see everything, because truth is no longer simple. It is constructed. Level 5. Courtroom awareness. You step into a courtroom. Everything slows down. No noise, no chaos, just controlled silence. Every word spoken feels intentional. Even silence feels powerful. You notice how lawyers don't just speak, they perform logic. And judges don't just listen idly. They evaluate structure. You understand something deeper. Courtrooms are not about emotion. They are about precision under pressure. Level 6. Legal thinking. Now your mind starts changing. You don't just see events. You analyze them. Who caused what? What rule applies? What consequence follows? Even normal life starts feeling structured. Arguments between people become case studies in your head. You are no longer reacting emotionally. You are processing logically. Level 7. Argument structure. You learn how arguments are built, not as opinions, but as systems. Claim, evidence, reasoning. Every statement must support another. You begin to understand persuasion is not about intensity. It is about clarity, and clarity wins more than emotion ever will. Level 8. Spotting gaps. Now you see what others miss. You notice contradictions in statements, missing details in arguments, weak points in contracts. Law starts feeling like a puzzle where every piece matters, and the smallest mistake can change everything. You begin to realize the law is not only about what is written, but also about what is not written. Level 9. Professional discipline. You change how you behave. You become more careful with words, more precise with promises, more aware of consequences. You stop speaking carelessly, because you understand language has weight, and in law, every word can matter. Level 10. Justice system. You study how everything connects. Police, courts, lawyers, judges, evidence. It's not random. It's a system with layers, but it's also slow, sometimes frustratingly slow, and you realize something important. Justice is not instant. It is constructed through process. Level 11. Strategic thinking. Now you think ahead. If I say this, what will they respond? If I present this evidence, what weakens it? Every move has consequences. You stop thinking in single arguments. You start thinking in chains of logic. Every action triggers another reaction. Level 12. Moral complexity. You face something uncomfortable. Law is not always clear. Two sides can both sound right. Two arguments can both be logical. And yet, only one outcome is chosen. You realize justice is not always about fairness and emotion. It is about structure and decision-making, and that can be difficult to accept. Level 13. Master interpretation. Now you understand flexibility in law. Words are not fixed, they are interpreted. One sentence can hold multiple meanings depending on context. You begin to see law as layered thinking, not answers, but possibilities. Level 14, authority presence. People start listening when you speak, not because you are loud, but because you are clear. You don't guess anymore. You explain. You structure thoughts in a way others understand easily. You become someone who brings order to confusion. Level 15, becoming law. At the highest level, law is no longer something you study. It becomes how you think. You see systems everywhere, rules and chaos, structure and conflict, logic and disagreement. You stop asking only what is legal and start asking what is consistent, what is fair, what is sustainable, because now you don't just understand law, you think like it.